Hey everyone, welcome to the investor.bet NRL round 16 try scorer betting preview. Last week was really tough, nothing really went to plan. We hit Farnworth, but outside of that, it was very slim. Injuries and position changes and all that just all went against us, which happens sometimes, and that's why following bankroll management is so important. But we're ready to bounce back this week. It's been a good season overall, so nothing major to be concerned about. In round 16, we have 14 try scorer selections, basically 2 in each game. With one game, we've got 3. Another game, we just have the 1 selection. But using the Bet Finder tools, which you can use yourself through the link in the description, I'm going to break down why I'm backing certain players and why I'm not backing other players. And that's really like the most important thing you can get from these videos is the reasons why deciding to back players or not back other players. If you can understand that reasoning, go a long way to you being able to decide and choose your own bets, not just on the NRL, but other sports, like the strategies and the research factors and situational factors that we go through are all very similar across different sports, and it's going to help you level up your selections and level up your overall betting results. The tool we're using to determine the try scorer selections, it starts with the try scorer matchup, which allows us to determine good matchups for certain players. So for the Tigers-Raiders game, we've got all the different positions, where the Tigers score their tries, how many they average per game through that position, and where that ranks in terms of the overall league. And then their opponent, in this case the Raiders, where they concede their tries on average and where that ranks in the league. Effectively, real short, what we're looking for is high rankings in the tries for column and low rankings in the tries conceded column. If we can find good matchups like that, then it's going to determine potentially really good betting situation. But then we want to do further research into the player playing that position. Is it the regular player? Have they been playing recently? What's their recent form like? What's the overall team form like? Here we're looking at the overall season for 2025. But if I've gone through for each of these players and a lot of the different situations and looked at whether that's recent form contributing to that ranking that correlates to a good situation, or is it form earlier in the year? There are a few teams that conceded a lot of tries through a certain position back through rounds 1 to 6, and then since then have barely given up a try to that same position. So we've got to be cautious of those as well. But you're going to see that as we go through for the selections. The first game, Tigers versus Raiders. This is on Friday night, the only game on Friday night this week. For the Tigers, I'm not going to have any selections. The one that I still have highlighted here at right center is Stafford Toa. This is one that I did look at closely. However, even though it's a good matchup, 1st versus 16th, the Raiders have only conceded to the right center once in the last 4 games. So I do think the Tigers are going to more so lean towards that right edge. And if I was to take a try scorer, that's probably the way I'll go. But I want to have 2 selections in this game only, and I'm going to go both of them with the Raiders. There also is the question mark whether Jerome Luai plays. If he doesn't play and back up from Origin 48 hours later and travel back to Sydney, then I think it really hurts the Tigers' attack. So at this stage, it's not guaranteed that he's going to play, and for that reason I'm not going to take any Tigers players, but that's the likely way that I would go. The other good situation, if you are looking at the Tigers, is on the left wing, so that's Gerald Skelton. The Raiders have conceded to the left winger in 4 of the last 5 games, including the last 3, and this is the situation where the Raiders concede the most tries of any position. So either right center or left wing would be the 2 best options for the Tigers, but I'm just going to go with 2 plays on the Raiders. The first of those is on the left wing. That's this matchup right here. Firstly, you can see that the Tigers concede the most tries of any team to the opponent left winger, and they've conceded to the left winger in the last 3 games straight for a total of 5 tries. Jed Stewart is playing on the left wing for the Raiders this week with no Tamale. Jed Stewart is the son of the coach Ricky Stewart. This will be his debut game. He's paying $1.93 at Sportsbet to score a try. I'm going to take the chance on him, as I think the Raiders may put a lot of their attack towards this left edge. They've got Hudson Young on that side as well. And the Tigers defend, they're the number 1 defense against the opponent right edge. So the Tigers' left side of the field defending is extremely good. And I think the Raiders, they'll know that, and they should push their play towards that left side. So on that wing, taking Jed Stewart as our first play. And also on that left edge in the second row is Hudson Young. He should back up from Origin at this stage. There's a slight question mark. I'll give you a backup plan in a second. But with Hudson Young, he's $2.40 at TAB. The Tigers have conceded to a second rower in 6 of their last 7 games. Hudson Young has scored in 3 of his last 4 games, and he's also scored 4 tries in his last 6 games against the West Tigers. Hasn't scored in the last 2 games though, but he plays on that left edge, which is where I expect the Raiders to target. And he's very consistent at scoring tries, so happy to take the $2.40 in this matchup, especially considering the amount of tries the Tigers have been conceding, and also the likelihood that the Raiders are going to push most of their attacking play towards that left edge. Now, if Hudson Young doesn't back up and is ruled out, doesn't play this game, the backup play is in the halves, and that is Ethan Strange. He's $4 to score a try. That's at Bet365. This is only if Hudson Young doesn't play. Tigers have conceded to a half in 2 of their last 4 games. Both of those have been, or all those have been on the left side. 4 tries total. 7 of 13 games this season have they conceded to a half. And Ethan Strange has scored in his last 2 games and has scored in both games in his career against the West Tigers. So at $4 is a genuinely good play. If you prefer the play on Ethan Strange, then I back him over Hudson Young. They both play on that left side of the field. I think you couldn't really go wrong with either. I think the prices are fair for both players, so it's a potential like you could take all 3 of them in this game. But I'm going Hudson Young as the official play and then Ethan Strange as the backup. You can also half stake both as another potential option. There's a few different ways that you could go about it. With your try scorers, what you want to do is first, always make sure you're getting the best possible price for your selections or best possible odds, as you're going to win the most from the same stake if you're getting the best odds, and that goes a long way towards your overall profit at the end of the day. And like even a few cents difference can make a big difference in the long term if you're consistently doing that. Just if you're looking at a player or a team or something and you're seeing, say, $1.80 somewhere, but then you notice another company has $1.85, use the company that has the $1.85 and get the better return for your bet. And one good rule as well, if you feel like, oh, it's not really worth depositing just to put that one bet on, if you didn't have money in that account and it felt like a bit more of an effort, then the question to ask yourself, is it a bet that I really want to put on? Because if it's not worth depositing the money and putting the bet on, then it's likely not worth putting the bet on altogether, because if it is a really good betting opportunity, then you're going to go and put the bet on. And that's one of the rules, or not really a rule, but something that I did early on in betting is every single week I would take all the money out of all my betting accounts, and I kept the money that I'm using for betting as my bankroll in a separate account, so like things weren't getting mixed up. But I'd always empty all my betting accounts, and then when I decided what bets I'm going to put on, I would deposit. And that was a way that I was able to make sure that the bets I was putting on were genuinely good bets, and I wasn't just putting bets on because I had money sitting in an account and felt like putting some bets on with that money. That's a really quick way doing that to lose the money that's in that account, or bet more than you would normally bet on a play bet. That little strategy definitely made a big difference to me, particularly in the early days. The next game, so the first one on Saturday over in New Zealand, the Warriors against the Panthers. We got one play from each side. I do think Warriors are going to win this game. I spoke about that more in depth in the round 16 betting preview. But I'm still going to just take the one player from each side. So firstly, for the Warriors, going on the left wing, and that is Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. He's $1.74 at Sportsbet. Left wingers scored the most tries of any position against the Panthers so far this season. They've conceded to the left wing in the last 2 games and 7 of the last 12 overall for a total of 9 tries. Tuivasa-Sheck has scored in 3 of his last 5 home games and has scored 3 tries total across his last 3 games overall, not scoring in the last game against the Sharks, but a double prior in the game against the Rabbitohs. Didn't score last time against the Panthers, but did score a try in the game before that. The other reason for this play is if we go and look at the right wing matchup, the Panthers give up basically no tries to the right winger. They rank 2nd overall in the league, so the 2nd best defense against that position. And whilst it's creeped up a little bit recently, they've conceded to the right wing in 2 of the last 4 games. It's not a huge advantage. And then Dallin Watene-Zelezniak, who plays on the right wing for the Warriors, he's never scored historically in his 10 games against the Panthers. So I don't think it's a really good matchup. And considering he's a shorter price than Tuivasa-Sheck, I'm going to go on the left wing as the better option. Whilst the Panthers don't give up too many tries to the right winger. They do give up the most in the league to the right centre. Moala Graham Taufa is playing right centre. This will be his 5th career game. Yet to score a try, but does have a really good matchup here. And Panthers have conceded to the right centre in 6 of the last 9 games, but only 1 of their last 3. It's definitely a good matchup for him. He's paying around the $3, $3.20 mark. Not a bad option. Just not one that I want to back with confidence. I'm just going Roger Tuivasa for the Warriors. And then on the Panthers side of things, just the one matchup here that I like, and that's on the left wing. Keep in mind, the Panthers' Origin rep players aren't traveling over to New Zealand for this game, so they are going to be an undermanned side. But on that left wing, Thomas Jenkins, he's paying $2.50. Left wingers score the most tries of any position against the Warriors this season, and they've conceded to the left wing in 7 of the last 10 games. And at $2.50, I think is a really nice price here for Tom Jenkins. He has scored in 4 of his last 5 games overall, coming off a hat-trick prior to the bye in the game against the West Tigers. He scored all the tries for the Panthers in that game. He's only had the 1 game previously against the Warriors and didn't score in that game, but in really good form. And generally, like a player scoring at this higher rate, you'd expect at most the low 2, so around the $2.10, $2.20 mark at most, but likely, considering it's a winger as well, under the $2 mark. It's just that they're undermanned, but I think if Panthers are to score, and even if they just get 2 or 3 tries, he can definitely get one of them. So $2.50 at Bet365, he's the play there in that game. So Tuivasa and Jenkins as the 2 selections. Then we have the Dolphins versus Knights over in Perth. So Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow should back up, and he's going to be our first selection in this game. He's $1.87 at Bet365. The Knights have conceded to a fullback in 2 of the last 3 games. Tabuai-Fidow has scored in 6 of his last 8 games for a total of 10 tries. So he's averaging more than a try per game, but you got a couple of doubles and a hat-trick in there as well. He's scored in 2 of his last 4 games against Newcastle as well. And expect that, considering like you look at the Knights defense against the left edge, and this is where the Dolphins love to attack. The Knights give up the least number of tries to the left winger and the left center, so it's a double there. That really takes Jack Bostock and Herbie Farnworth out of play a little bit, and Tabuai-Fidow can be there to capitalize on that. Newcastle have only conceded 1 try to the opponent. This left edge right here, they've only conceded 1 try to either of those positions in their last 7 games overall. So I think the Dolphins are going to need to go more so to the right side, and if both Bostock or Farnworth get opportunity and they may not be able to score, can be there to capitalize on that situation, and he can be the one to score. Dolphins obviously in extremely good attacking form. Don't think they're going to run in that 50 plus points against the Knights side, but they'll still find definitely, I think, close enough to the 30 points they should be able to over in Perth. Also for the Dolphins, going on the right wing, which is Jermaine Asako. Similar to that reason, the Dolphins, whilst they've been having a lot of success going left, they're still finding points going to the right, and I think that's also the way they need to just venture a little bit more against this Newcastle side. Knights ranked 11th defensively over there. They haven't conceded to the right wing in the last 4 games. That concerns me a little bit, but they did concede in 5 of 6 prior. So over the course of the season, this has been where they've been conceding tries. Ako has scored in 2 of his last 3 games for a total of 3 tries and has scored 6 tries in 5 games against Newcastle, scoring in 3 of his 5 games. He's $1.80 at TAB. I don't think there's a ton of value there, and I'm really counting on the Dolphins to spread the ball right a little bit more than they have been recently, just due to the Knights' defense on that side of the field. And Asako, the 2 selections there, just based off the Knights' defense. No plays for the Knights. They have Dom Young coming into the side, moving over from the Roosters after playing with them against the Knights last week, so a bit of a weird situation there. Just keep that in mind, but no real interest there for the try scorers for the Knights, partially because the Dolphins also have only conceded 1 try per game in each of their last 3 games. And they haven't conceded over 16 points in their last 5 games. And Newcastle are the worst attacking side. So if you're backing try scorers on the Knights this week, you want to be very confident. And for me, yeah, they may go to the right a little bit more. That brings Dom Young into play. He's probably your most likely try scorer. The Dolphins defend the other side of the field extremely well. Newcastle don't even score over there as it is. But I don't want to be involved in that at this stage. Rabbitohs versus Storm. We got 3 plays in this one. The first one with the Rabbitohs, and no major prizes for guessing here for the Rabbitohs as they don't score on the right side, so we need to go left. They're ranked last overall. The right wingers only scored 2 tries all season long for them. And so we're going left side, and on the left wing, Alex Johnson, he's even money, so $2 at TAB. The Storm have conceded to the left wing in 5 of the last 7 games. Johnston has scored in his last 4 games straight for a total of 6 tries, and he's scored in 3 of his last 4 games against the Melbourne Storm for a total of 5 tries. At even money, if the Rabbitohs, similar situation to the Panthers game with the Rabbitohs, I don't think they're going to win this game, but if they can find 2 or 3 tries, Johnston should be able to get one of them on that side of the field. That's the much weaker side defensively for the Storm, and it matches up nicely with the Rabbitohs. I was contemplating not having a play on the Rabbitohs, but when I see the difference in the matchups and how Rabbitohs don't go to the right and the Storm are the weaker on the other side of the field, it sets up nicely for him. So that's the first play, Johnston at $2 at Bet365. Then for the Melbourne Storm, 2 plays. First in the halves, and we're going to go with Jerome Hughes. He's paying $2.90 at Sportsbet. Rabbitohs concede the most tries of any team to the opponent halves, and they've given up a total of 14 tries across the season. They've conceded in 8 of the last 13 games, and they've also conceded to a half in each of the last 3 games, at least 1 try. There were a double in there as well. Jerome Hughes has scored in 2 of his past 4 games, hasn't scored in his 5 games against the Rabbitohs, but I think he can find a try in this game. Like, you got the side that give up the most tries to the opponent halves, and Jerome Hughes is a player who can find the try line. He's one of those players that's always in and around when they make a break. If it's not Pappenhausen, it's Jerome Hughes, and I think he definitely can find his way over the line. And then also for the Storm, we're going to the fullback, Ryan Pappenhausen. Has scored a try every time he's played the Rabbitohs, so 7 from 7 in his encounters against them. Has scored 12 tries in 12 games this season, so 8 of the 12 games he's played, he's scored a try. Hasn't scored in the last 3, so he'll be desperate to get a try in this game. Storm off the bye, he's well rested, and definitely looks likely to score a try. He's $1.72 at Neds, which I think is a really good price. The fact we're not getting in the 160s or oftentimes he's priced in the high 150s to score a try, I think is a good bet. Rabbitohs have conceded to the fullback of the opposition in 2 of the last 3 games. So the 3 selections, Johnston, Hughes, and Pappenhausen there for the Storm for that game. Broncos versus Sharks. This is the first game on Sunday. Firstly, for the Broncos, I think they're going to need to go down the left edge to find points against the Sharks side, and that sets up well for them. They're the number 1 left edge attack, and the Sharks ranked 15th at defending that side of the field. Across the last 6 weeks, the Sharks have conceded 11 tries to the opponent left winger and left center combined, whereas they've only conceded 4 tries to the right winger and right center combined. Broncos, that sets up nicely for them. They have moved Jesse Arthurs over to the right wing, replacing Selwyn Cobbo. So that brings Josiah Karapani in on the left wing. So I was contemplating whether to go center in Shibasaki or Karapani on the wing, and elected to go at the center position, which is this matchup right here, 3rd versus 15th. So Shibasaki, he's $2.80 at Bet365. Sharks have conceded to the opponent left center in 3 of the last 5 games. Shibasaki has scored in 2 of his last 3 games for a total of 3 tries. And he's yet to score in 2 games versus the Sharks, but he scored the opener for the Broncos in their last game at home against the Titans. They're at home again here. He consistently scores majority of tries at Suncorp in Broncos home games, and should be able to go close to scoring here with the matchup he has. Broncos should push most of their attack towards the left-hand side of the field, and I think it'll set up nicely. The Sharks have conceded to the left wing in 3 of their last 6 for a total of 7 tries. When they concede tries there, it's generally a few, but I don't really want to play Karapani, and Shibasaki at the significantly better odds is the way that I'm going. For the Sharks, just the one play for them, you got to look more so towards the wingers. Now there's no Kale Iro and Harry for the Sharks in this left center position. Talakai comes in, who has played center quite a lot for the Sharks over the years, but I think that does weaken their left side a little bit, particularly in terms of try scoring potential. which makes it also tricky for Mulatalo on the left wing. So I'm going over to the right side, and that is Sione Katoa. He's $2.15 at Bet365. Broncos have conceded to the right wing in 2 of the last 3 games for a total of 4 tries. This will be Katoa's 3rd game back this season. Didn't score in his first game back, but then scored a double last week against the Dragons. Looks back in form, scored that really good try where the Dragons tried to put in a kick and he was able to grab it while sliding and run away and score. And he scored in 2 of his last 4 games against the Broncos. I think Sharks this week now, they've had a lot of success over on that left edge, but with those injuries that they have now, I think that it's going to have to even them up. And they also played a lot of the season without Katoa. He's only come back a couple of weeks ago, and now their right edge has a lot more attacking potential. Stone Street did well over there early on in the season, then he got injured, but with Katoa back in, evens them up on both sides of the field, and I don't think they have to be as left side dominant. Other thing for the Sharks, you can also look in the second row here. On paper, looks like a good matchup. But when I did a little bit more digging, Broncos have only conceded to a second row in 1 of their last 5 games. 2 tries that were scored in a single game, but it hasn't been as consistent. Britton Nickera loves scoring tries on that right side in the second row for the Sharks, but I don't want to play him in this game. I'm just going to go with the 2 selections, both of them at plus money, so we only need one of them to score to generate a profit in this game, but ideally we'll get both of them to score. That would be best case scenario. Roosters versus Cowboys, just the one play in this game, and this was one of those games where when I first looked at it, I was like, oh, this is probably going to be a game where I'm going to have 2 or 3 selections. However, I'm just going to go with the one, and that is on the left wing for the Roosters, Daniel Tupou. He's $1.72 at Bet365. The Cowboys have conceded to the left wing in 3 of the last 4 games for a total of 6 tries. Tupou has scored in 2 of his past 3 games for a total of 3 tries, and he's scored in 3 of his past 5 games against the Cowboys for a total of 4 tries. Do think there's not a great deal of value in his price around that $1.70 mark. Would prefer to see around the $1.80, $1.85 to really see some value there, but I think he's the most likely try scorer in this game. The reason for that is on the right wing, Mark Nawaqanitawase is listed as the right winger for the Roosters this week. But the Cowboys have only conceded to the right wing twice in their last 9 games. So 7 of the last 9 games, the right winger hasn't scored, and that's bringing their ranking right down now to 7th, whereas they're the worst overall combined at defending the left center and left winger. Roosters should push more attack towards that left side. They are pretty balanced on both sides of the field. I think they can score either way, but in terms of the Cowboys defense, the Cowboys right side defense has really been struggling, particularly in recent times, and it's continuing to get worse. And that's the way that I'd be going. You could also look at the halves there. Cowboys give up a lot of tries to the opponent halfback and 5'8". You have Sandon Smith or Sam Walker as the potential try scorers there. They've conceded to the half in 5 of the last 6 games for a total of 8 tries. Just couldn't back either of those players with confidence to score a try in this game, so I'm just going to leave them alone. I think Tupou is the best option, and wouldn't be surprised if Nawaqanitawase does score, but at $1.60, considering Cowboys haven't been giving up tries there, I'm just going to leave it out. And then the final game of the round, Eels versus Titans. I've got one play for each team. Firstly, for the Eels, we're going to the right wing, and that will be Zach Lomax, assuming he backs up. He's $1.83 at Neds to score in this game. The Titans rank last and concede the most tries to the opponent right winger, and they've conceded in 7 of the last 11 games for a total of 15 tries. Lomax has only scored 1 try this season. He's played 8 games for the Eels so far and has scored in 1 of them, but he has scored in the last 3 times he's faced the Titans, and I think he'll really want to score. New South Wales lost Wednesday night. Lomax missed a few conversions. I think he'll want to have a really good game for Parramatta this week and has a great matchup on that right edge. It's not as good of a matchup on the left wing for Josh Addo-Carr, but he has a really good record against the Titans, so I was somewhat interested in him. He scored 11 total tries in his last 5 games against the Titans, and he's scored in 6 of 11 games this season. But the Titans just aren't giving up as many tries on that right side as they are on the left-hand side of the field. So we need to go towards the right edge, and that will be Lomax this week, and happy with the $1.83 price for him. And then for the Titans, we're going to the left wing. It's this matchup right here. Khan Pereira, he's $1.69 at Sportsbet. The Eels have conceded to the left wing in the last 3 games and have conceded in 9 of 13 overall on the season. So majority of games, the left winger is scoring. He has scored 2 tries in each of his last 2 games, so 4 tries across his past 2, and he has scored a double in each of his last 3 games against the Parramatta Eels. So that's an extremely good record against them, and we only need him to get 1 try in this game. The Eels do give up plenty of tries to the right winger as well. I just think Khan Pereira is the better and more likely try scorer than Alan Fitzgibbon. There is a bit of a price difference between them. Wouldn't talk you out of either one of them, but Khan Pereira is the way that I want to go. So to recap all the selections, we'll start at the top for the Tigers-Raiders game. We're going with the Raiders left wing, Jed Stewart, $1.93 at Sportsbet. And in the second row, Hudson Young at $2.40 at TAB. If Hudson Young doesn't play, then the backup selection is Ethan Strange in the halves at $4 at Bet365. Warriors versus Panthers. Warriors left winger Roger Tuchek $1.74 at Sportsbet, and Panthers left winger Thomas Jenkins at $2.50 at Bet365. Dolphins at fullback Hamasai Fedor $1.87 at Bet365, and on the right wing Jermaine Asaro at $1.80 at TAB. Rabbitohs Alex Johnston on the left wing $2 at Bet365. In the halves for the Storm, Jerome Hughes at $2.90 at Sportsbet, and at fullback Ryan Pappenhausen $1.72 at Neds. For the Broncos, at left center, Jahamet Shibasaki, he's $2.80 at Bet365. And the Sharks on the right wing, Sione at $2.15 at Bet365. For the Roosters, just on the left wing, Daniel Tupou, $1.72 at Bet365. For the Eels, on the right wing, Zach Lomax, $1.83 at Neds. And for the Titans, on the left wing, Alefiana Khan Pereira at $1.69 on Sportsbet. Those are the 14 try scorer selections for this week. Hopefully you found this video insightful. My goal with it is to show you how researching the games and analyzing these factors can ensure you're putting the best possible bets on. And with investor.bet, my goal is to do the research for you and save you all the time it takes of going through all these things. That's what I do for members in the best bets, and that's why I provide all these tools to speed up the process. Before I created these, analyzing games and took a lot of hours to go through, and all the information that I share with you in these videos, yes, it takes a few hours to put together, but it would have taken a lot longer without all these tools. So it's about being efficient and making sure you have all the information so that you can profit. I really appreciate you guys watching, following along, being part of this channel, and watching these videos every week alongside the previews that I've been doing like all season and last year, looking at the games, try scores, that kind of thing. There's also going to be some additional videos coming soon that I'm putting together that are going to specifically help you with your betting strategies so that you're able to consistently win every year, no matter if you're betting on the NRL or any other sports. There's specific things you can do and have set up so that you're able to consistently profit. I'm really excited to put those videos together and share them with you guys so that everyone can start winning more money from these betting companies. So make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of those videos coming out over the next few weeks. Thanks guys, have a great weekend, and I'll see you in the next video.